Hi, everybody. We're continuing through question 6, which is the short questions in the 2022 higher level paper. And today we're going to look at question 6, part K. Before I get into it, as usual, I would recommend that before watching the rest of the video, you can pause it and try this out on your own. Give yourself a mini test, see if you can figure it out, pretend you're in the exam hall. If you get stuck, do try to look it up in your books or your notes first, and then come back to the video to check how you got on. If this is a question that you think you have the right answer to already and you want to just check my sample answers on the webpage, do. You don't need to watch the whole video if you think you have it worked out. I also have the marking scheme there so that would tell you, and being careful here, that will tell you how you would have done in the exam last year. It doesn't necessarily mean that if they ask the same question next year that you'd get the same kind of marks, but it can give you a guidance that you might be on the right track. All right. This is a nice one. This is one of those ones that if you have been putting in all the hard work learning off the definitions, this is where you start getting your payback, okay? So let's read it. It says, what is thermionic emission and where does it occur in an X-ray tube? Okay, super. I'm going to just I don't always do this, but it's kind of just a tip for the exams. Sometimes when questions have sort of two questions in them and it hasn't said like part I and part two, part one and part two, I just call them that myself. It's only so I don't forget to come back to it, okay? Because I have been correcting, I'll just make it a little tidier. I've been correcting exams before and students will fly, they'll be doing a great job, but they'll forget to come back to part two. So they'll go along and they'll say what thermionic emission is, but they'll forget to come back and answer about the X-ray tube, all right? And even for myself to explain to you guys which bits are which, I'm just going to say question 1, what is thermionic emission? Question 2, where does it occur in an X-ray tube? So thermionic emission, and you can nearly figure it out from the words itself, okay? Thermionic emission, my writing isn't super on the drawing pad, sorry guys. So thermionic emission is the release, just another word for emission basically, the release. You probably could say emission as well, of electrons, and electrons are important, of electrons from the surface of a hot metal. Okay, so looking back at the word thermionic emission, you can kind of figure it out. There's another one photo where it's light and people get them mixed up sometimes, but what I want to point out to you, thermionic, therm means heat, okay? And emission is release. So what you really need to remember separately is that it's electrons jumping off of the surface of a hot metal. Okay, so thermionic emission is the release of electrons from the surface of a hot metal. Now, if you're struggling with my scratchy writing, there's a sample answer attached where it's nice and neat, or this is probably very easy to find in your books and your notes as well. So we've the first part answered. I'm going to talk about the marking scheme in a minute after this, but I'll just keep going. We'll keep doing our answers. Let's say I'm in the exam paper and I want to continue on, and I say, where does it occur in an X-ray tube? It occurs at the cathode, and you could just write cathode and I think you'd be okay. I'm just going to have a quick scroll down and have a look, double check that I'm not telling you the wrong information. Yeah, so if you literally just wrote for this cathode, and I'll explain where I'm pulling the word cathode out of in a second, you would have gotten your marks. What I would probably recommend though, when you look at the marking scheme and you see cathode equals 3 marks, what that means is that your corrector is looking for the word cathode in your statement, but you don't know exactly what they're looking for every year. So I would write a statement, I'd write a sentence. It won't kill you to write a whole sentence. Even though I'm not one for loads and loads of writing, it's no harm in these kind of cases to just write it out a little bit. So thermionic emission, this is an example of a sentence I've written. Thermionic emission occurs in an X-ray tube at the cathode when it is heated to release electrons for acceleration. I'm giving a little bit more than I need to, but I'm not exactly sure. When you're in the exam, you won't exactly know which bits they're looking for, so you kind of have yourself covered there. So I'll just say, and again, I have this in a sample answer too, occurs at the cathode. It turned out this is your keyword, cathode of an X-ray tube, and that might be enough as well because you've covered it. They asked you where does it occur, and you said where. And then I put in brackets though, because this is sort of an optional extra, when it, I'll just make myself super clear, when the cathode is heated to release electrons for acceleration. And I'm going to just quickly revise the X-ray diagram with you now in a second, but just purely from how to answer the exam question, you've definitely covered yourself here. So I'm going to say E minuses for acceleration, just ACC for short for now, okay? So what is thermionic emission? Thermionic emission is the release of electrons from the surface of a hot metal. Where does it occur in an X-ray tube? It occurs at the cathode. And if you want to really show off a little, it occurs when the cathode is heated to release electrons for acceleration. Okay, you're done answering the question. If this is something you're happy with, and if you are comfortable with drawing your X-ray diagram and you understand what I'm talking about when I say cathode and all the rest, you're sorted. You can pause and spare yourself a little bit of time, but I think it's always handy to go back and have a look at your X-ray diagram. So I have it here. This to be in everyone's books and in everyone's notes, all right? And I'm just going to talk over how do we make the X-rays, okay? So this is the cathode. This guy here with the curly thing, that's our cathode. It's written there anyway, but I just really, really want to point it out. And it's basically just a metal coil, and it's heated. So you put a low voltage through it, and that causes it to heat up. And when it gets hotter, electrons start bouncing off of it. And that's what this big red line across here is. Here's my electrons. And they are being sent towards a target. They're being positioned into the target. It's usually a heavy metal target, and this is called an anode. So when they hit that target, they change basically. They change to X-rays, which are projected out here. And one other important part, well, there's a couple of important parts, but the whole thing is inside of a vacuum. And you say, well, you know, a vacuum meaning there's empty space. Even though we sometimes think the room that we're in is empty space, it's actually full of air molecules. But in a vacuum, those are taken out, they're vacuumed away. And the reason for that is if there was no vacuum and I had electrons popping off here, instead of just rushing straight over to the target, they would be getting deflected. So what I mean by that is if I say I've got my little air molecules all over the place, they're just drawing circles, not very accurate molecules, and I come along with my electrons. But if there's a lot of them, it's going to come on, and instead of going through, it'll go, oh, over here, or, oh, gone that way. It deflected away, and they don't actually ever end up hitting the target, okay? That's why the vacuum is so important. It makes it more efficient as well, because some of them will hit the target, but the less stuff that's in their way, the more of them will directly hit the target, if that makes sense. That's a very messy drawing, so let me know if that's not super clear to you. I'm just going to clear it off for simplicity. Bye-bye, atoms and molecules of air. Okay. That's in your books and notes anyway, if you want to go back in it. Oh, and this gets very hot. One thing I meant to say about the coolant. This gets really, really hot because it's been absolutely pounded with electrons. They're coming at it all the time, really fast, lots of energy. And some of that energy is converted into heat. So to keep it from getting much, much too hot, we've got some coolant there as well, okay? All right, so we've answered the question. We've done a little bit of revision on the X-ray diagram. And again, if it's something you're not so great, not feeling super confident at, go back and have a read of it in your book. They'll usually be accompanied by a few bullet points as well. And if something in it isn't kind of clicking with you, you can let me know in a question in an email, and I can see if I can give a hand. We can do an extra video all about X-rays. If that's something that you think you might like, let me know. This is the last thing I want to look at today. I don't often look directly at the marking scheme, but I just thought it might be handy. And if you think it's something that you like, we can keep it going, so let me know. But I will definitely continue to warn you that this was for the 2022 paper. If they asked an identical question next year, this marking scheme might look different. So it's always coming with a warning that just because you answered it, just because they had these pieces they were looking for in it this year, doesn't mean they'd have the same pieces next year, all right? It's just to be aware. but it can still be a handy guideline if you're feeling like you're in a place where you're really preparing for the exam and you want to see how you would have gotten on, especially if you were diligent and you did close your books and you did try the answer and then you're coming back to see what am I missing, how would I have done. So if you said this is from the first part, they give very little information in there as well, so you can kind of see why it's very open to interpretation. What is thermionic emission? It's emission of electrons from from a hot surface or the surface of a hot metal. Your sorted, you got 4 marks out of 7. And then where does it occur in an X-ray tube? You said the cathode, you got 3 marks. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you, that you didn't need to write that much. You didn't need to draw any diagrams. It actually isn't a bad question as long as you remembered that the thermionic emission happens in the cathode and that you remembered your definition for thermionic emission. So if anyone, if you've ever been in my class, you'll know that we break our definitions into chunks, maybe 10 or 12 of them, and do that 10 or 12 every class and another set the next day till we get through them all and we have them absolutely in our heads. It's not very exciting work, but it's questions like this that you get your kind of payback, like I said. Okay, that's it for question 6, part K. In the next video, I'll be doing part L, which is the last short question on that paper. So if you're interested in that, just keep following on. Before I finish up, I'll just let you know if you have questions, let me know if you have questions about this particular example or questions in general about your physics course, or even just science and maths questions that you're a bit stuck on. I absolutely would love to hear from you. Um, there's a contact page on the website, but also my email is info. I should probably paste this, guys, at physicshelp.ie. Okay, and that's probably the best way to get onto me because I check that every day and I'd love to hear from you because I really want to make sure that the videos up here are things that you will use. Okay, that's all from me. So thank you for listening and I hope you found it useful.